Research Center says only a third of Americans say that being truly American means following the Christian faith. The study showed that 32% of Americans say being Christian is very important to national identity. More Republicans were reported to say Christianity is essential to being truly American.
Diagnosis, settle your problem child.
CBS 2's Suzanne Marquez shows us the trend some say may be going too far.
Your eyes begin to get very tired.
10-year-old Eric Ferrer Alfaro is about to be hypnotized.
And close your eyes when you're ready.
He has ADHD and struggles with focusing in school. His mother doesn't want to medicate him, and so far, nothing else has worked.
I'm hoping for the teacher to not call me anymore.
Everybody calls me Hypno Mom.
Hypnotherapist Lisa Mackenberg says she's hypnotized close to 1,000 children, including her own.
I started hypnotizing the children at 7 months to sleep quickly, calmly, soundly, and deeply all through the night.
She says that she's essentially teaching Eric to hypnotize himself.
Breathe in the word focus. Exhale on the word powerful. When he needs to curb his impulses, all he needs to do is breathe in that power word, and it resets the neurons.
I hope it'll help me because tomorrow I'll have a lot of division and a lot of tests on math.
But not everyone agrees that hypnosis is the answer.
It's a very risky thing to do.
Psychologist Dr. Sanam Hafiz says putting kids in a trance is going too far.
The idea is not to gain control of your child's mind, but it's to teach them what's right, what's appropriate, what's desirable.
For 15-year-old Tyler Reed and his friend, 18-year-old Colin.
I don't think so.
The road to true self began with family. But the journey for these transgender teens also includes exploring medical options to transition.
I really look forward to facial hair and my voice being lower.
Like help close this gap between how I feel inside and how I look on the outside.
And we have some questions.
To do so, families work closely with gender therapists.
You have to tell them what's going on in your head, and a lot of the time you don't even know.
And doctors like Carol Malazzo, who was among the first in the Sacramento area to treat children diagnosed with gender dysphoria, born one sex but identifying as another.
A person's gender identity is pretty much fixed by the time that they're 3 years of age, and there's no way that you can actually change them.
The pediatrician recognized the need for trans youth more than a decade ago, and to date, she has cared for hundreds.
For one of the fastest growing crimes in the world, sex trafficking. It's the second largest underground economy in San Diego, pulling in profits of almost $900 million a year. It's a business so big that law enforcement is welcoming the help of private investigators who have one thing in common. They're all former special ops. This team is trained to track,
if we catch them outside,
extract,
get some audio,
and get out without anyone knowing they were there. These are former Navy SEALs, cops, and British Special Forces, now working as private investigators to help rescue victims of sex trafficking.
They're so well trained to blend in on surveillance because you know what they do when they're on the SEAL teams is they basically kidnap people.
Joseph Travers, a former police officer, started Saved in America, bringing in men with special skills. Every night in San Diego County, there's an estimated 2,500 kids who are missing. And the clock is ticking for each one of them because it's a race between those trying to rescue them and those trying to trap them. Tonight's goal for the rescuers, a teenage girl we'll call Kylie. Like 80% of all local sex trafficking victims, she's American.
Copy in position.
Kylie is 15, a year younger than the average age of a girl caught up in trafficking.
We think, from the intelligence we have, we're trying to take her south of the border.
Intelligence taken from the web and revealing her possible whereabouts.
Okay, guys, there's movement in the front window.
Law enforcement called in.
PD's been notified.
The ghosts back out.
10-4 copy.
And Kylie is rescued, one of 26 teenagers in 26 months.
On the edge of Paris and spread to at least 5 nearby nearby towns amid a public outcry over the alleged rape of a young black man by police. Several nights of clashes have broken out after 4 police officers purportedly forced a 22-year-old man to the ground, beat him, and anally raped him with a baton at a housing estate in the northern Paris suburb of Aulnoy-sous-Bois. The officers were suspended pending an inquiry into accusations that they used excessive force while arresting the young man during an identity check.
A spike in murders in Brazil as soldiers patrol the streets in Espírito Santo state. More than 100 homicides reported in just 6 days after police walked off the job, demanding better pay. Schools and shops are now closed. Public transportation ground to a halt as the military tries to contain chaos. Some citizens are running scared.
My father is coming to pick me up. I'm leaving. I won't stay here.
Most of the violence is happening here in the state capital, Vitória, a wealthy port city ringed with golden beaches. But normally crowded cafes are now empty, with visitors staying away amid security fears.
There's been a drop in customers, and we've also seen problems with trying to leave certain areas. There are no buses, there's no security for getting home safely. Business is complicated.
Brazil is in the midst of an economic crunch, making it tough to keep even basic public services going. There are now fears the strikes could spread to other states.
A collapsing currency has led to economic anguish in Venezuela. Sky-high inflation has caused prices to double every 18 days. And citizens line up to exchange money that is almost useless.
Inflation has totally ruined us. You'd think this cash is enough to do things, but it's not. It's worth nothing. These bills are devalued.
In Venezuela, where an estimated 110,000 people in 2015 were living with HIV, a shortage of critical medicines, including life-saving anti-HIV drugs, threatens a country already in crisis. In June of 2016, a network of Venezuelans living with HIV sought urgent humanitarian aid from the Geneva-based Global Fund to Fight AIDS, Tuberculosis, and Malaria. The petition notes that in addition to a severe stockout of antiretroviral treatment, Venezuela lacks a necessary supply of condoms, HIV test kits, or basic supplies to diagnose and treat tuberculosis.
A plague of vast proportions. Countless locusts have swarmed Bolivia, causing the government to raise the alarm.
We have declared a state of emergency. We have decided to issue a supreme decree.
The arrival of these unwelcome visitors happened a week ago near Santa Cruz. They've already wiped out almost 1,100 hectares of corn, peanut, and soybeans. Authorities are warning that the locusts could destroy the country's main agricultural region, which supplies more than 80% of Bolivia's food.
People are very scared here by the locusts. These bugs have done a lot of damage, eating all the production of maize, beans, squash, and watermelons. Also yucca production. All this production was destroyed.
The government says fumigation must begin straight away. Pesticides are being sprayed on the ground and in the skies. But even with all these efforts, the locusts are spreading quickly. The question is, how much damage will they do?
Caterpillar species is spreading across Africa and devastating crops. The fall armyworm, native to North and South America, appeared in Africa for the first time last year. Scientists say it likely arrived on commercial airliners. Non-native armyworms are now spreading rapidly. They've already been confirmed in countries across southern and western Africa. They pose a major threat to agriculture. Maize, an important staple across much of Africa, is especially vulnerable. The United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization says fall armyworms have destroyed up to 73% of crops in some areas. Fall armyworms are also difficult to control using pesticides. In a statement released Monday, February 6th, the Center for Agriculture and Biosciences International said the caterpillar could, quote, spread to tropical Asia.
It is ready to support Kenya after the country declared its drought a national disaster. The UN statement came Friday, the same day Kenya called for aid to counter the current drought. The Kenyan government said over 2 million people are in urgent need of food assistance. The UN Food and Agriculture Organization warned the country is facing a severe drought and with it rise in a food insecurity. The drought has affected 23 out of 47 countries, posing a major risk to people, livestock, and wildlife. Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta called on all stakeholders to support the government by upscaling drought mitigation programs.
Major concern near America's tallest dam, a giant hole in the spillway, is growing in size tonight. Here's ABC's Neil Karlinski.
Tonight, officials in California have the nation's tallest dam under a microscope, worried about this massive hole that's formed nearby. The Oroville Dam holds water back from Lake Oroville, now at record levels and in danger of spilling over after a series of storms. The 200-foot-long, 30-foot-deep hole is enormous, dwarfing the engineers who climbed in for a look this week. It eroded through the concrete spillway used to release water and keep the lake from topping its banks.
This is a big deal. We're very concerned that we manage this properly to protect the public down below.
Here's the problem. If the spillway can't release enough water now, officials will have to try a never-before-used emergency spillway.
We're monitoring 24/7. If any changes occur that could result in any kind of danger to the public, we will immediately notify the public.
The Oroville Dam are expected to hit record levels. Right now, water continues to gush over this damaged spillway. Reporter Sean Bennett is in Butte County with more.
What a difference a day makes. Yesterday, we could actually see where the erosion took place, and we could actually see the rest of the spillway. Today, you can't even see it. Now that water rushing right off to the right side of the spillway on top of the actual hillside, and those rocks racing down into the river. Now, history will be made at Lake Oroville Dam this weekend, according to officials with the Department of Water Resources. The water level is expected to hit the 900-foot capacity in the early morning hours of either Saturday or Sunday. Now, the DWR officials say it will likely go over the emergency spillway, something that's never happened in the 48-year history of the dam. Now, back in 1997, the water came within a foot, but never actually went over the emergency spillway. DWR officials say crews are working to clear debris ahead of the water spilling over. Now, the hole in the spillway continues to grow. Engineers say they plan to continue using it to lower lake levels.
Geographic data says California will have a mega flood about every 1 to 200 years. So we're overdue, long overdue.
In the San Francisco Bay Area, there are over 350,000 people that live in the 100-year floodplain, and I'm sure the vast majority of them don't realize that they're living in an area that's at risk.
Losses could be over $700 billion, leaving millions homeless. And it's not just rainfall. Coastal flooding could crumble the Bay Area's outdated levees.